Hello all. Thank you for tuning in to this session on Tableau server connectivity. Welcome. And in this session, we are going to elaborately talk about embedding Tableau dashboards onto Salesforce, and then briefly about enabling single sign-on and emailing dashboards as opposed to subscribing to them. So I work at Cochlear. I work as an ETL, which is extract, transform, load, and report developer. And I also take care of the server administration of Tableau. So with this, let's begin. Before we begin, I would like to point out that all the content in this session is pertaining to a Tableau server installed on a Windows machine. Yeah, so topic number 1, embedding Tableau dashboards onto Salesforce. But why do we even have to embed? Why don't we just use Salesforce's reporting capability? Salesforce can build reports with its own data, though it has drawbacks like limited visualization, limitations on the number of rows and number of filters that you can apply, etc. You can still build dashboards. But the reason why Cochlear went in with a third-party tool like Tableau instead of building report on Salesforce is because of the last point that you see, which is blending modules and different data sources. So let's say you have data from Oracle, from Hyperion, from Salesforce itself, or from Excel, and then you want to club everything and then show it on a dashboard in Salesforce, and that's not going to be possible by the tool because it's not a reporting tool to start with. It's like any other tool which has a reporting capability. If you can think of, say, Atlassian's Jira, you can build great dashboards on Jira with Jira's data, but you can't bring in data from elsewhere and then club it with Jira data and show it on a dashboard. That's where you need a tool like Tableau. But why Tableau? Why not something else? So apart from the point that we just spoke about of blending data, we had to factor in different reasons as to which tool would fit this. And the main ones would be the ones that you see here. Is it easy to embed? Can it show contextual data? So when I mean contextual, in Salesforce, there's row level security applied. So when a person, let's say a person is defined with a profile of region APAC and sub-region Australia, then that person is authorized to see only data pertaining to Australia, no other country in APAC, no New Zealand, no Singapore, no Malaysia. So he should be able to see only that data. So this is enforced by Salesforce by setting up the user's profile in such a way. So the tool that you're going to embed into Salesforce should also adhere to this setting of security, and we will see how Tableau can fit in. And third, it would be, can it be accessed seamlessly? So Salesforce is something that's used by field reps, like on the field in front of customers. So if you're going to tell them, like, open this browser, look up this link for this report, go to the next window, open another link for another report, go to the third window, open another tool, see another report, then do the math in your head, and then tell the customer the number that you want, then there's going to be no adoption for even one dashboard to begin with. So there should be a seamless access where there's just one log on and you can access everything at one place. So these were the main questions actually that were asked when we wanted to embed. So we will see how Tableau has answered these questions as we progress through this session. And we will also see an example of how to do it. So how does this work? So when in Salesforce, there's a third-party framework called Canvas. So as the name suggests, it's a blank canvas where you can put in multiple Visualforce pages. Each Visualforce page is a call to a Tableau dashboard. So when a person logs into a browser, opens salesforce.com, then goes to this link, which is a Tableau dashboard link, and he clicks, it's essentially a Visualforce page which is sitting inside a canvas. And when this is done, Salesforce then sends out a request to Sparkler. Sparkler is Tableau's Java adapter. It's available for free download from tableau.com, and then it's installed in the Tableau site. So Salesforce talks to Sparkler, and then Sparkler then reaches out to the Tableau server with the request, and Tableau server shows the dashboard on the user's browser. So this is in simplistic term how this works. So with this diagram, you would get an idea of what we need to get this up and running. So from Tableau's end, we need to have Java and Tomcat installed, and the Tomcat and Tableau have to be on HTTPS. So we need SSL certificates. And then we have to download Tableau's Java adapter, which I just spoke about, called Sparkler. So this is essentially what we need from the Tableau's perspective. And then we need a Salesforce developer, or if you are the Salesforce admin, you could do this yourself to do the next set of actions. One would be to set up the Canvas app and then create as many Visualforce pages as there are the number of dashboards that you want to view, and give the consumer secret key to the Tableau admin. So a consumer secret key is essentially an ID to this Salesforce environment. So each environment is defined with an ID. So let's say you have a Salesforce Dev, Salesforce UAT, and a Salesforce Prod, and you want your Tableau to talk to all three environments. Then you will have to specify this ID of each environment in Tableau so that it knows to which Salesforce environment it can connect to. So the consumer secret key you can see when you're setting up the Canvas app, and then you can just put it into Tableau Sparkler. Later on, I'll tell you how to do this. So that's it. That's all you need to set up this thing of Tableau dashboards on Salesforce. Pretty simple. And this is a scary slide where I get into the granular details of what needs to be done. I'll not dwell on it too much, but I'll just give you an overview. So once we have Java and Tomcat installed, we'll have to enable HTTPS on it. So for that, you generate a key store or you generate a key. And then once you get this generated, you send it to a certificate authority like DigiCert and get it certified. So when DigiCert or any certificate authority of your choice comes back with a certificate, you go and install the certificate back in the key store that you generated. So once you do that, your Tomcat is on HTTPS. And then you open Tableau server configuration window, and then you enter the key that you generated in the Tomcat settings and the certificate file that the certificate authority came back with. These two, when you specify this and say, okay, your Tableau server is now also on HTTPS. A point to be noted here is until Tableau server version 2018.1, this is how your window is going to look. But going forward, after Tableau 2018.2 and up, it's going to be TSM, which is Tableau Services Manager. So it will not be the exact same window that you see in this screenshot here, but the functionality would be essentially the same. So once these two steps are done, then it would be Sparkler. So you download Sparkler from tableau.com, and you would go to the Tomcats Manager app and deploy this Sparkler. So when you download, you get two files, a sparkler.war file, the Java WAR file, and an XML file. So the WAR file goes on to Tomcat, and the XML file stays in the Tomcat configuration directory. And in the configuration directory in the Sparkler, there are placeholders to put in the consumer secret key. So once from Salesforce you have the consumer secret key, all you have to do is open this XML and put in this consumer secret keys of each of the environment that you want your Tableau server to connect to. So you don't have to write any piece of code. There's already code written and it's commented out. All you have to do is just uncomment and put this key in. And once that's done, those are all the steps that are needed for Tableau's end. And then on Salesforce, you'll have to create the connected app. So in this Canvas app, it's just called Tableau Sparkler. And then you put in the URL of your Tableau server, your Tableau server, then /sfdc/canvas. And you get the consumer secret key from this particular location and give it to your Tableau admin. So with this, your Canvas app is ready. Now you can create as many Visualforce pages as you want. So in this example, if you see, there's a simple piece of code which is calling a dashboard. So again, Visualforce pages are easy to write. They're not difficult from the look of it. You can see everything is just the same. And that ts.name is your dashboard name that you're going to invoke. And the one that's in yellow, that's the highlighted portion, is what is going to make it contextual. So here you have a ts.filter, which is going to send in a bunch of values, variables back to Tableau dashboard, and Tableau is going to pre-filter them. So in this example, if you see, there's a P region, there's a P sub-region, P territory, etc. And it's getting values from $user.region, which is basically reading the user's profile and fetching the variables which defines the user's region, sub-region, etc. So these values are passed on as parameters to the report that is built on Tableau desktop, and it is pre-filtered with this. So which then makes it contextual. So when a user, like the example that we spoke about earlier, from Australia sees this, he sends his Salesforce user profile, sends the value of APAC in Australia to the Tableau dashboard, and Tableau dashboard pre-filters and shows him the data that he's authorized to see. So that way we make all the Tableau dashboards contextual and exactly what Salesforce allows him to see. I'll get to the Tableau dashboard in a second, and I'll show you how this is done. This is a sample page of how it looks like in Salesforce. It's an account page, and there are a bunch of links of different reports. And once that's clicked, it says loading Tableau Sparkler, and then it loads the page. So a point again here to be noted is you didn't get a sign-in to Tableau page. That's because Cochlear has a core-based license, and in a core-based license, you have guest user enabled. And with a guest user enabled for these Tableau dashboards on Salesforce, whenever a user from Salesforce logs in and the guest is enabled, it does not ask them to sign in and automatically loads the page. So again, this is the place how we make it seamless. There's no two places where you have to enter credentials. You just enter Salesforce and then you can access Tableau, and it loads up the page like this. So let me show you how this is done. So I have the sample dashboard. And if you see the parameters here, we have region, sub-region, territory, etc. And then it all goes into the C territory filter equal to true. And if I describe C territory filter, so these are the columns from my data source here. And then these are the columns from, these are the values from the parameters. Though they say C underscore region, C underscore sub-region, they're basically P underscore, which then get translated to C underscore and then get equated here. So for this example, the person is from North America and he can see Canada and USA. So maybe he does not have a sub-region set. He's at the region level. So he may be regional manager, so he can see everything. Oh, this one. Yeah, nothing went wrong. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to show you about how to embed Tableau dashboards. If you have any questions, please type in the comments box, and I'll get to it later. So topic number 2, enabling server-wide SAML authentication. Again, this is a very simple task to do, but then it has a lot of positive responses from the organization. They just love it because when something is on single sign-on, they don't have to remember that password. They don't have to remember to change it. It's just one less password that they have to remember. So they love it. And in this session, I'm going to talk about how we enable it for the entire server. If you have multiple sites within your Tableau server, you can choose to make certain sites single sign-on and certain sites non-SSO. And for that, this steps would be slightly different from the Tableau perspective. But what I'm going to show here is about making the entire server single sign-on. So again, how it works. So when a user accesses an app, in our case, Tableau sends a SAML request to the IDP. IDP is identity provider. You have different IDPs like Okta, ADFS, etc. So in our example, we will show how to do it on Okta. So the IDP then authorizes the user, more often than not using Active Directory, and sends a SAML response back to the app, which is Tableau. And Tableau then logs the user in. So there's nowhere that you're entering credentials, and it's the IDP that is authenticating this user. So to get this going, you have to set up the Tableau app on the IDP. This screenshot is from Okta, and then there's a place where you can say enable single logout and put in the signature certificate. The certificate is nothing but your Tableau certificate. So if you don't have your Tableau certificate, all you have to do is just open Tableau.your organization's Tableau server on Internet Explorer, right click and get the certificate. So you put the tableau.com certificate here, and below this there's a button which says export metadata. It got cropped in the screenshot, but when you do an export metadata, it will generate a metadata file with all the instructions that Tableau has to follow to get this up and running, to send a SAML request, to receive a SAML response, and where to go when you have to log out and how to log in, etc. So you get this metadata XML from your IDP, and also you get the IDP certificate that you would later put into Tableau. So this is on the IDP side. And when you get to Tableau server configuration window, again, this is applicable until server version 2018.1. Post that, it would be TSM, but the steps, I assume, would be the same. It's just a different look and feel. So first, you put in the SAML certificate file here. So the certificate file is the certificate from your IDP, similar to what you gave. So there you put in Tableau certificate, here you put in IDP certificate. Simple. And then this is a SAML key file. The key file is nothing but the key that you generated in the first topic that we saw for Tomcat. It's the same key file, but a point to be noted here is it has to be an RSA or a DSA algorithm key. If it is not, then SSO won't work. So how do you know if it's an RSA or a DSA? If you right click and open the key file, if it says begin private key, then it's not RSA algorithm. If it says begin RSA private key, then it's obviously RSA. So if it's not, you can go to command line and you can just put in your key file and say convert to RSA, and it'll convert it. You put the RSA key here, and then this is the place where you put in the metadata file that you exported from Okta. Once this is done, save it. Your Tableau server is now SSO. Simple. And when you log out of Tableau after SSO is enabled, by default it will go to the Tableau login page. In case you don't want it to do that, if you, let's say, want it to go to a enterprise landing page that your organization uses, you can always specify it with a simple command of tab admin set wg server. So this SAML logout redirect will send a logout to a specified website rather than going back to Tableau's login. For more reading, there is a resource. The resources here. You can also learn about doing it for single sites rather than server in this link. That's this. And then emailing dashboards. So why not just use subscribe option, right, on the Tableau server front end? But the three things that a subscribe cannot do. One is it can only save, it can only send the dashboard as a PNG to you, as a picture. It can't send it as a PDF or maybe a CSV. It can only send it as a picture. Second, if you have multiple dashboards that you want to see, and if you're subscribing to them, you get as many number of emails. 10 dashboards is 10 emails. Can't club everything into one. And third one is a subscribe can only send it to your mailbox, cannot save it into a shared drive. So when you're doing it from TabCMD in the backend, you can do all these three things that subscription can't do. You can save it as a PDF, send it as a PDF, send multiple dashboards, multiple PDFs into in one email, club everything, or even save it in a shared location. So let's say you want to know how your dashboard looked every week. So you want to take a weekly snapshot and save it in a folder or send by email. Then all you have to do is this. So you do a TabCMD export. You specify the name of the dashboard and the format of the dashboard, and then either you send the email to the person in the to list with all the, so this example has two, you can send as many as you want, or you can go save it in a shared location. So this entire thing is a batch file. Once you create the batch file, you can then go to Windows Task Scheduler and set up a schedule for it to say, okay, every day, every week, at this time, do these tasks. And it's set and forget, as easy. Now, as a bonus slide, I have this because here in Cochlear, we not only use Tableau as ad hoc reporting and for Salesforce, we also use it for real-time manufacturing dashboards. So when it is real-time and when it's manufacturing, you can't afford it to go down. It has to be up all the time. And if it goes down, they hunt you down. They want you to bring it up then and there. It can't go down, basically. It has to be available all the time. So to do this, we have pretty much only two simple tasks that has helped us keep the server in pink of health. One is this task this particular file that you see, where essentially all we do is tab admin stop cleanup and start. So this runs every week, just once a week, and it stops the server, cleans up everything, and starts it again. And then every day there's this only tab admin cleanup running. That's a different file, but it has only this one command. So it cleans up all the temp files and log files every day. So with just these two, we have managed to keep it up and running all the time. So that's it. That's it from me. Thanks all again, and see ya.
Hi, thank you so much, Pavithra. That was awesome. I know that it's super hard to get into the technical conversations, but you did an absolutely astounding job. We've just got time probably for one question, and there's not yet something that's come through in the chat, but I do have a question for you. To get into this space, it's really important to have like a lot of great resources to bounce off to understand, the best ways to actually set it up. Have you got any resources that you could point people to online or blogs, or did you get help from third parties?
So for all this, I would just rely on the forums of Tableau. So it's tableau.com, or speak to Tableau account manager, or more often than not, it's Google. And then when you Google, the first thing that comes up are the forums in Tableau. Somebody somewhere would have implemented this. So you just take samples from there and then do this.
Great. And do you by any chance actually post back onto the forums as well?
If there are questions that if somebody's not done it, yes. And then we've also had some other company reach out through the account manager. They wanted to implement Salesforce and Tableau dashboards, and our account manager actually referred us, and then we spoke to them. So yeah, so it's the forum.
I've got one more question from the Q&A from Inti, and I believe Inti's in Melbourne. Does it change much with the new 2018.2, which introduced TSM and broke away from the usual server config?
Yes, that's a good point. I wanted to mention that I forgot. So all this that I've shown here will work only till 2018.1 because it's all tab admin and tab CMD. Once you have TSM, I read through the documents of how it's going to change with TSM. Only the syntax would change a bit, but then if your framework, your skeleton is the same.
Okay.
So let's say I've shown some codes on how to email dashboards. So the syntax or the skeleton would be the same. It's only the skeleton would be the same, only the syntax would change a bit when we go to TSM. Not a major shift, but yeah, there will be change.